This part is the nerve-wracking part, okay? You're probably sweating a little bit. Don't wear gray. Don't wear gray if you sweat a lot, because we can't be having sweat stains. Because guess what? I'm sweating right now and you can't see it. Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Joy, and over here we talk about dental school, getting you into dental school, and whatever else I want to talk about. So thank you all for clicking on this video. If you're new, hello and welcome, and if you are returning, thank you so much for returning. Now you're probably wondering why I'm wearing all of this, but I have a very good reason. Today we're going to talk about virtual interviews, in-person interviews, and how to convince these admissions people that their school is going to be a better place because you are there. If you haven't already seen my videos on how to put together a great personal statement, put your application together, and study for the DAT, I will link those in the description box below. But if you're watching this video, that means you've already put together a great personal statement, taken the DAT and done well enough, and put together a very convincing application. And now we have the next obstacle course for you to maneuver your way through. So typically interview season happens from August through about March and sometimes later than that. But if you don't get an interview at first, don't worry about it, it's fine. They're still handing out interviews. I didn't get my interview until like December and I still got into school, thank God. Okay, so you got an interview, congratulations. But now you are super nervous and you don't know how to interview because you are a biology major, sports medicine major, somebody who has never had to sit down and do interviews. That's okay. I'm going to walk you through a few steps, tips and tricks to make sure that you do the very best you can and you will look like a pro. So first things first, although it's not realistic to assume that everybody has good lighting, a quiet place, and good Wi-Fi, that is something that is required in order to, host these online interviews. So if you don't have that, find someone who does. I don't know, rent a space. The reason we don't want a distracting background or anything in the space distracting from you is because this whole interview is about you. You are bragging on yourself. You've already done it on paper. You've done it in your DAT scores and in your application, but now it's time to sit face to face with these people and be like, hi, I am everything that I wrote about and more, and you really want me to be in your school. So if you have all this going on behind you, in front of you, beside you, there's sound, there are people walking back and forth, maybe your dog is taking laps or something like that, you need to cut all that out because anything taken away from you is not good for this interview. Now that you have your space set up for the interview, you know where you're gonna go, you know that people are gonna be quiet for you, and you know that your dog's not gonna be running around playing with her squeaky toys, we can talk about the actual interview. So you need to prep for it. You don't just show up and just think everything's gonna go well. No, of course we hope for the best, but we prepare for the worst. So when you're preparing for the interview, hopefully you know who is interviewing you before the time comes. So when I showed up to my school that I currently attend, they gave us a binder that said who was going to be interviewing us, the student and the faculty. Because I am an FBI agent on the side, I went ahead and researched the professor who was going to be holding my interview. Turns out he was in the Air Force, he was deployed, he was in Germany, a couple other places, and he was over in mission. So it's not necessary to know this whole man's life story, but if you find that there's a lull in the conversation or awkward silences, that's where you want to fill him in with this information that you kind of already know, but you're going to ask about it anyway, because what's people's favorite subject? Themselves. Get people talking about themselves and you will have a great interview. I know you're supposed to be selling yourself in this interview, but if this person has a really great time and they have a really great conversation, they'll remember this really great conversation and that you were in it. So the math does add up and this equals a good review for you. Step number 2 of researching. You need to research the school, okay? You need to know what they're about, what is their mission statement. I wouldn't say memorize it or anything, but kind of understand what does this school stand for, what do they really emphasize, and what do they want their students to represent. Once you figure out what the school is about, what their mission statement is, maybe they have a slogan. So for my school, it is, we make lives better. Okay, y'all make lives better? So do I. Let's talk about it, okay? See how I did that? Also, when you research your school, you want to know like 3-ish facts, because one of the things that I was asked in my interview is, what do you know about the school? Now my school has gotten a whole entire new clinic building in the past, I don't know, 6 or 7 years, something like that. But I looked that up and I knew what year the school was built and what year the school got the new building. My interviewer was kind of impressed that I knew those dates because she didn't even know it. See how that works out? That equals more points for you. We're keeping score here, in your head of course, but we are keeping score. The next step would be combing through the school's website because they might have interview questions on there. My school did, and I was like, oh, okay, sounds good. This is what y'all are gonna ask me? Okay. So I kind of had an idea of the types of questions they were going to ask. But when you do this, please do not rehearse answers. Do not type down answers to what you think they want to hear. This is not, it's not going to feel organic. It's not going to feel like a conversation. An interview should feel like a conversation, not like I'm just reciting what I think you guys want to hear. I know y'all are rehearsing answers. I read it on the little dental forums on Student Doctor Network. Please, please, please do not rehearse answers because we are not auditioning for High School Musical 3. We are interviewing to get into dental school and be a dental professional. This is not to say that I didn't initially do that. I was looking up schools, I was figuring out what kind of questions they were asking, and I was like, ooh, I can say this, 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 and this. That's not good because when you sit down with these people to talk, they know what a rehearsed answer sounds like. So they will see right through you and be like, this person seems inauthentic and weird and rehearsed. And that's not the kind of people we want because they need to figure out what kind of clinician you're gonna be. Because when you get into your 3rd and 4th years and you are sitting there talking with patients, trying to get to know them and figure out what's the best treatment for them, you need to be able to, you know, hold a conversation like a normal person, not a robot who rehearses everything. The next thing you're gonna wanna do for your dental school interview is review your application. I've said this a million times, I'm gonna say it a million times more. You need to print out your application and just flip through it, read through it, because you wrote it months and months ago and you probably forgot everything you wrote on there. And even if you did every single thing that you wrote on your application, there is a lot of room for you to forget, be like, oh, I did do that, huh? And you don't wanna be like, oh, I did do that, huh, in front of the interviewer, because then it seems like, did she make all that up? So make sure you know all of your experiences, your volunteering, your research, whatever community activities that you partake in. A lot of this stuff you've done it years ago, but it's still relevant. So make sure you brush up on it, you know it's on your application, and anything that they say, you know exactly what they're talking about. Also reread your essays, make sure you know what you wrote on there too, because hopefully the stuff on your essays is not in your application, and you need to brush up on that too. Make sure you know what's going on, make sure you know what you did and what you said, and kind of what your mission as a dental student or your mission as a dental professional is going to be. The next thing you're going to want to do is have a business suit, or at least half of one. So I'm wearing a blouse I got from the thrift shop, a blazer I got from Express, so it's probably $40 or less, volleyball shorts, and some Santa Claus socks. That sounds like a great interview outfit to me. Honestly, the only reason I own a business suit is because of dental school interviews. And there's nothing wrong with that because as a dental student, you're wearing scrubs all day anyway, and there's no reason before dental school you probably needed a suit. But if you don't have a suit, don't worry about it. Just go get a top from a thrift shop that's pretty boring, plain, comfortable, and then a blazer from somewhere like Express, New York and Company. I don't know, Walmart probably has them too. So yeah, make sure you have that. If you have questions about what you're supposed to be wearing, please just look it up on YouTube, the internet, Google. You know, YouTube University can teach you anything. Next, you're gonna want to hit up a friend who has experience doing interviews. This could be somebody in recruiting, so they conduct interviews all the time, or somebody kind of in the business world who's gone on a lot of interviews. Whoever it is, just make sure they are well-versed in interviews and they can give you tips, suggestions, all those things. So now we've done all that prep work, it's time for the actual interview. This part is the nerve-wracking part, okay? You're probably sweating a little bit. Don't wear gray. Don't wear gray if you sweat a lot, because we can't be having sweat stains. Because guess what? I'm sweating right now and you can't see it. First things first, please breathe, okay? Because we can't be hyperventilating during the interview. That doesn't look very good. We need to conduct ourselves in a calm, cool, collected manner. You need to look good under pressure. You need to look composed under pressure, because guess what? Dental school is a whole lot of pressure all the time. And if you can't handle the interview, then there's no way that you can do actual school. Now you need to be personable. They already know you are qualified, you have the numbers, you have the grades, and you have the experience. So that's why you're sitting in front of them right now, because if you didn't have all of that stuff, you would have never gotten an interview. So congratulations, and remember that, okay? You're not sitting here convincing them that you're smart enough. You are sitting here convincing them that you are a real person, you know how to communicate well, you know how to make people like you. You also need to convince them that you are committed to dentistry. So that leads into my next point, and my next point is very, very important. You need to make sure these people know that dentistry is your plan A, B, C, D, all the way through Z, because they don't want to let people in their school who are not 125 million% sure that they want to graduate from the school. Nothing looks worse on a school than having a low graduation rate. And so you need to make sure the admissions people, whoever is interviewing you, the student, the faculty, whoever it is, they need to know that you are about dentistry, you are about this program, and you are committed to this. They're gonna ask you, so what are you gonna do if you don't get in this cycle? That's a test, okay? That's a test, because the only thing that needs to come out of your mouth is, I'm gonna go re-up, retake my DAT, get my scores up, rework my application, and apply next year. That's the only correct answer. That is the only correct answer. Okay, so the interview is going well, you're having a conversation, it feels casual, it's flowing nicely. Now they're gonna ask you, do you have any questions for us? Because you're not the only one being interviewed here. You are also interviewing the school. So I'm gonna give y'all a little gift here. I'm going to tell y'all my go-to questions, because I'm terrible at question asking, but if I already have them kind of decided, it works pretty well. I always ask people about their experience with the institution. So if this is a person that's been at the school for 20 plus years, you're gonna ask them, what's your favorite part of the institution? What have you gained most from being here? What's the biggest impact this institution has had on you as a professional? And then if you're interviewing a student, you can ask them the same types of questions. What's been the most valuable part of this institution, in your opinion? I wouldn't ask any questions that would lead into a negative answer or kind of lean towards a negative answer, but do ask, like, what's your favorite part of the institution? Let them highlight their favorite parts of being at that school. And again, if you get people talking about themselves, great results. So now we're at the end of the interview. You've asked them questions, they've asked you questions, and it's been a great conversation. Everybody feels good about it, everybody's comfortable. So now, interview's over. So now this is when most people tell you to send a follow-up email. The truth is, the person interviewing you has probably already sent in your review and your evaluation by the time you send this thank you email, but you can send it if you want to. I didn't send one. Actually, I got a thank you email from my interviewer before I had a chance to send one to him, and that was weird, but it was a really great sign for me. I was like, ooh, that went really well, yes. But if you want to send a follow-up email, send it. If you don't want to send one, then don't. If you feel awkward doing it, don't put that stress on yourself, because that was really my thing. I was like, I feel weird, like I don't know what to say. Thank you for talking to me, I had a great time. I guess that'd be a good email to send. If you don't want to and you know it's just going to be an awkward, weird email, then maybe don't send one. They remember you, they'll remember that they had a great time talking to you, and that's really it. So that's it, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. If you've made it all the way to the end, thank you so much. Make sure to like this video, subscribe if you aren't already subscribed, and again, thank you for your support, and good luck on your interview trail. Bye!